Louise Slaughter, as a member of the Rules Committee, is staying up till 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, fighting for us to make sure we've got a chance to get legislation on the floor of the House of Representatives that is good for our families, good for our workers, and good for our middle class. So Louise, thank you for your dedication to all of us. Mr. President, I know you know this area. In fact, it was just exactly a year ago you came to the University of Rochester and gave a powerful, powerful speech about your work with the Clinton Global Initiative. It was amazing to see how you've transformed people's lives all over this globe, and to have you here back in Rochester means so much to us tonight. I know you know the people of upstate New York, but let me tell you what I've seen and heard over the last year. You know, we've had some tough times. Ask the former workers at Delphi, or the ones at Kodak, or the ones at former Buffalo, China, where I come from. Ask the farmers, like the Coins, what it's like to deal with overburdensome regulations. Talk to the folks like Patty at Patty's Diner in Canandaigua. Or Milton at the Hillview Diner in Lancaster, who see the Romeos every day. You know what Romeos are, folks? I had to learn this too. I spent a lot of time at diners. Retired old men eating outside. They call themselves the Romeos. So you just have to ask them, because these folks are worried about their kids and their grandkids. I hear it all over the place, but let me tell you why. I am so energized. I've seen in the faces of these people more hopeful signs.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Test.
In their eyes, I see a hunger for leadership that is blind to simple party labels, and a realization that in 2010, this country, with the wave of Tea Party, hyper-partisanship, partnership went way too far. And now they want us to bring it back. They want us to bring our country back to us. And that's what's so great about this country. We can take corrective action. It's called Election Day. Mr. President, I was so thrilled that when you wrote your book a year ago called Back to Work, that you mentioned our election, and you said there are two ways that we reject extremism, we push back extremism. And one is stinging public rejection like occurred in New York 26 in our special election. But we said the Ryan budget went way too far. And my mom and dad thought it was really cool you mentioned me in your book too, so thank you for that. That's what you said, Mr. President. In an overwhelmingly Republican district, people pushed back. They said, you know what, they've gone too far this time. When you're trying to take a program like Medicare that we've paid into all of our lives, and now turn it back to the insurance companies and privatize it and social, it doesn't work, folks. It's a problem that people said you've gone too far. And so, 1 year later, tough district last year, super PACs were flying in, Colorado dumped $750,000 against us in a 2-week period. They said we couldn't do it. They said we couldn't do it. The pundits in Washington said we could not win a seat like that. But guess what? The people in this room, your passion, your belief in me, and Republicans and independents outside this room, you sent me to Congress to be your independent voice. Now guess what, folks? They don't like it now. They want me gone. And so the super PACs are flying at us again. It's deja vu all over again. But I'll tell you what, those super PAC ads, they don't vote. They don't knock on doors. They don't call people on the phone. They don't bring them in from the grocery store. They don't work at the factory. You do. Folks, I know there's a better way because we've seen a better way. The third way, when Bill Clinton was president of the United States, he reached across the aisle. He reached across the aisle and decided you don't judge an idea by whether it was put forward by a Democrat or Republican. You judge an idea on whether it is good for this country. And that is what motivates me, folks. We got to get this country back on track. And with your help, we'll send another message. Because now, we had something called redistricting. It was a little tough on us this year, right, Louise? So, not only did I have a very Republican district last year, I have the most Republican district in the state of New York. No, these are good Republicans. These are good independents. These are thoughtful people. I'm going to tell you right now. People in upstate New York just want someone that they can believe in. And I know with your help, we will send another message. It'll be the shot heard across this country when we elect a Democrat who believes in reaching across the aisle and finding compromise and stop the fighting that's paralyzing Washington and doing what's best for this great country. Thank you, everybody. And it has been tremendous affection and respect that I bring to you, Rochester's own fighter in Congress, Louise Slaughter.
Speech she just made. You could see how she gets elected, and she wanted to do it again. And it was pretty nice for me to have a colleague that who felt the same way about so many things in Washington. That was a real joy. And of course, like you, I'm always delighted to be in the presence of a national treasure. And we are this afternoon personally was his first date dinner, and I got invited to it, and I wasn't sure why, but when I got there, they showed me to the table where I was going to be, and I glanced down at the name card to my right, and it said President. And I said to the Marine standing behind the chair, President of what? He said, the United States of America. And we had the strolling screens there that night playing magnificent music, and the opera singers were sitting at our table. It was actually wonderful. And they played the Orange Blossom Special. And I know that Mr. President will really remember this, but he pointed out to our table that he and I had been singing that since we were single digits. My fondness for him is equaled absolutely by my love for his wife. Such a senator. It was a joy every single day to be her partner in what we were trying to do to rebuild this economy in upstate New York. And she loves it still, and we talk about it a lot. I will tell you how proud we are of her and the work she's done all over the globe. If she's not the best Secretary of State that we've ever had, I'll be surprised. Who worked the financial situation and the problems economically facing America like a maestro plays his Stradivarius. This man knew what he was doing. And what a pleasure it was. What a pleasure it was for me to be able to work with him and all the wonderful things that we got done together. We succeeded because we knew that serving the American people was not about partisanship. And we're not to try to destroy the other side, which is so prevalent today. We knew that Monroe and Erie and Niagara counties would succeed when we passed laws and got our work in Washington done. How about that for a novel idea? Remember those days? Unfortunately, the arrival of the next administration and the voters who were wanting bipartisan cooperation that they had seen under Clinton, the Republicans in Washington gave us an extreme agenda, as Kathy mentioned, in 2010, that broke our economy and grew our debt. When this failed agenda led to economic collapse, the Americans said enough is enough. For the past 4 years, I've been working with Kathy and President Obama to climb our way out of this. We're not there yet, but we know that there are better days ahead. So we fought together, all of us. Thank you. And we feel it. I feel it in this crowd. I feel the fact that you know that we're going on the right track, that we are not going back to those failed policies that we know didn't work in the first place, and we would be ridiculously dumb if we tried to go back and do that one more time, and we won't go. In addition to all other things that happened that were so awful with this past Congress, they started a new war on women. Can you believe it? You know, I realized today I've been fighting for equal pay since before I was elected to the state assembly. And we're still not there, but we're still going to do that fight. But we made a crack in that ceiling, first with Hillary Clinton running for president, but second with it was so important what we did to make that statement, because that woman had been treated so shamefully, and we all know so many people in the same condition. And it not only hurts the person who is cheated, it cheats the family. So many of them are single heads of household, and we must make sure that they get equal pay for equal work. We also have to work. Because the Violence Against Women Act, which Pat Schroeder and I put together in '94, it was carried in the Senate by Vice President Biden, was one of the most sweeping bills, and we passed it, cut domestic violence 67%. It is gone. It is gone. We have to work in the lame duck session to get that reauthorized, and we will. So we got 2 more weeks. The weather has been wonderful. This is Democrat weather, if I ever saw. Don't you love it? Don't you love it? And it's good for the Buffalo Bills too, Kathy. All right, let's go Buffalo. All right, so we're going to rebuild the economy. We're going to rebuild it on nanotechnology, biotechnology, new wonderful ways of advanced manufacturing, because we have always been able to do that. That's who we are in this part of upstate New York and western New York and in Rochester. So let's now welcome someone that you are so happy to see. Thank you for standing outside.